Mr. Speaker, as Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas has carried out the Biden administration's open borders policy and deliberately produced the worst illegal mass migration in history. Since he took office, he's released 3 million illegal immigrants directly into the country, a population the size of the entire state of Arkansas. And while the Border Patrol has been occupied changing diapers and taking names, an additional 1.7 million known gotaways have entered as well. That's an additional illegal population the size of the state of Hawaii. The impact on our schools, hospitals, homeless shelters, working families' wages, social programs, law enforcement, national security has been catastrophic. The national security implications of 1.7 million illegal individuals about whom we know absolutely nothing are terrifying in light of the October 7th attack on Israel. Now, in response, many are demanding Mayorkas' impeachment for, quote, failing to maintain operational control of the border, as Congresswoman Green's resolution puts it. Well, he's certainly guilty of that and a whole lot more: maladministration, malfeasance, and neglect of duties on a truly cosmic scale. But these are not impeachable offenses. We know this because the American founders specifically rejected these terms at the Constitutional Convention. As Madison explained, they feared that such imprecise grounds could be twisted into a weapon for political grievances and turned against the executive branch whenever Congress saw fit. This would make the president a mere minister of Congress and make his subordinates answerable to the legislative branch instead of the executive powers that are vested solely in the president. This would utterly destroy the separation of powers at the heart of our Constitution. They chose instead very specific and limited charges of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. True, many politicians through the centuries have tried to pervert the term high crimes and misdemeanors into a similarly vague definition. But the founders would not have substituted one vague term for another, and thus we are left with the plain meaning of the phrase: clearly defined crimes related to the duties of the office. If Ms. Green is successful in redefining impeachment, then the next time Democrats have the majority, we can expect this new definition to be turned against the conservatives on the Supreme Court and any future Republican administration. And there will be nobody to stop them because Republicans will have now signed off on this new and unconstitutional abuse of power. We must never allow the left to become our teachers. Theirs is a world of strictly situational ethics, antithetical to our Constitution and to the rule of law. I vigorously opposed the sham impeachments of Donald Trump for exactly the same reason. Now, what is the practical effect of impeaching Mayorkas other than assuring that Republicans will have no defense when a future Democrat majority turns this new definition against them? Even in the delusional fantasy where 2/3 of the Senate were to remove him, the same policies will remain in place as long as the Biden-Harris administration holds office. This crisis was set in motion by voters who elected them and can only be fixed by voters replacing them with a president determined to secure our border, as Donald Trump did. Elections have consequences, sometimes terrible consequences, and this is one of them. The only cabinet secretary ever impeached was Ulysses Grant's Secretary of War for running a family bribery scheme. Now, the House Oversight Committee is painstakingly assembling evidence that suggests the Bidens may have been doing exactly this for decades. Such a serious inquiry can only have legitimacy and credibility if the rule of law is respected and the constitutional guardrails are observed. By failing to abide by due process and constitutional constraints, Ms. Green is tainting this serious impeachment inquiry with a shoot-from-the-hip stunt that is reckless, partisan, and manifestly unserious. In Robert Bolt's A Man for All Seasons, William Roper vows to cut down every law in England to get at the devil. And Sir Thomas More replies, "Oh, and when the last law was down and the devil turned around on you, where would you hide, Roper, the laws all being flat? This country is planted thick with laws from coast to coast, man's laws, not God's. And if you cut them down, and you're just the man to do it, do you really think you could stand upright in the winds that would blow then? Yes, I'd give the devil the benefit of the law for my own safety's sake."